Hey there, cinephiles. I know we've been having some issues with the quarantine and COVID-19 wreaking havoc on our whole country. I decided that I'm going to make a vlog, just something to cheer all of you up. I wanted to just talk about some of my favorite movies, and while you're in quarantine, maybe you can give a couple of these a watch, add some pleasure to your day. One of my favorite movies of all time is Jaws. This is Steven Spielberg's 1975 masterpiece. Let's just talk about the fact that there's a great shark in it. Bruce, the hero of the movie, tries to eat as many people as he can. He ends up being stopped at the end by three mischievous beings, which is kind of annoying. I was rooting for Bruce the whole time. He did get one of them, but by the end, Roy Scheider decides to blow him up. Smile, you son of a... Boom. Great movie. One of the best. But I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. So here's another one of my favorite movies of all time. Jaws 2. Jaws 2 continues the story of Bruce. Apparently he didn't die. He's back in this movie. At one point he gets electrocuted. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. It's so great that Universal Studios decided to base the ride on this part of the movie rather than the first one. I guess watching a shark get electrocuted is easier than watching it blow up. Roy Scheider, he returns. So, we all know that this has to be just as good as the first movie. It is as good as the first movie, if not better. This might be a better movie. And Steven Spielberg, he didn't even direct it. So, there you go. John Williams actually did the music for this, if you want to know, too. A lot of people don't know that. Great movie, underrated. Some of you have maybe seen that, though, so I'll move on to my next favorite movie of all time, Jaws 3, or as some people call it, Jaws 3D. This is actually the 3D version, if you have a 3D TV. I do not, so I can't see it the way it was originally intended back in the 80s. Jaws 3 continues the story of Bruce. This time around, it takes place at SeaWorld, or something like SeaWorld. I don't know if SeaWorld actually sponsored this movie. I don't even know if SeaWorld would like this movie. I don't even know if SeaWorld really exists anymore. Do people really want to still see caged up sharks and dolphins? There's been some accidents at SeaWorld. I've been to SeaWorld once when I was 5. I don't really remember it. Jaws 3 is great because it's in 3D. And 3D automatically makes a lot of movies better. For instance, Avatar, highest grossing movie of all time, was in 3D. That's why it did so well. Friday the 13th, 3D. That's the best Friday the 13th. Saw 3D. That's the best in that series. Jaws 3D. Maybe the best in the series, but the only problem is, if you don't have the TV, you can't enjoy it as much. So, Jaws 3D. It's great, but it could be better. This should get re-released. Highest priority. Some of you have seen that one even though. I'm sure a lot of people have kept up with the Jaws franchise. It's one of the best out there. One of the most popular and timeless franchises to exist. But a lot of people haven't seen the final in the Bruce story. Jaws the Revenge. Another one of my favorite movies of all time. Michael Caine is in this movie, which delivers a great performance, as he always does. It almost rivals his performance in The Muppet Christmas Carol. This one is great because Roy Scheider isn't in it this time, but his wife is, and now Bruce is going after the wife. See, that's why he's the greatest hero of all time. He doesn't only go after you personally, the ones that did him wrong. He's going to go after your family. He's not going to stop until every bit of lineage is done and ended. What a badass. And you really have to give it to Bruce. I mean, for every one of these movies, he did the exact same pose every single time. That's really hard to pull off. I've tried it. I've tried to do the same pose twice for a photo. I'll try it now. And then I'll try again. But even then, both of those photos are completely different. Yet Bruce could do it. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times in a row. Jaws of Revenge. They dropped the 4. They went straight for revenge. One of the greatest revenge thrillers of all time. One of my favorite movies of all time. But if you've seen all the Jaws movies, you could also watch one of my favorite movies of all time, The Ghost of Mr. Chicken. You can't go wrong with The Ghost of Mr. Chicken.